Good morning, y'all. We are in Genesis 33. We're dedicated here, okay? We're on YouTube at Preach Facts, okay? Genesis 33. You can't find dedication like this anywhere. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. You will not find dedication like this anywhere. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto two handmaids. Unto the two handmaids. Okay. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. Okay. There's an image here, y'all. Something going on. He's putting the most rare thing. He's putting the most valuable thing in the back. Okay. Rachel only had one child, one actual child that she birthed. She was in the back, and he loved Rachel most. Okay. So, just throwing that out there. So he put his most valuable stuff in the back. On the front lines, he's throwing the other stuff. And this is important, y'all. There's something going on here. It's gonna come to me. Okay? That's the way we need to be. With the Christ in our lives. Put all the other stuff out the way on the back burner. Get rid of the drugs first. Get rid of the addictions. Drop the big ones first. That's what I told y'all. Drop the big ones. And I just want to thank everybody that joined me on that live yesterday. A couple times. Dude, we had a good conversation, man. A lot of these people, man, that are atheists, claim to be atheists, they really have strong faith. They just don't know it. Or you could just feel it. They almost have stronger faith than we do. They just need just a little bit of help. I can't explain it, but guys, you guys are just, you guys are about to explode with stuff, man. Good stuff. You strengthening my faith, because all the stuff y'all saying is really slick supporting God. It's really in support of her, and you have all this faith built up. But you really you're just not placing it where it is. And as soon as you break free, God, man, you guys are going to be on fire. Hang on. It's going to happen. I know I planted the seed last night. Y'all, I'm doing a live debate about stuff, and they got so much knowledge, man. It's just a little misplaced. They just need a little bit of convincing. The Spirit's going to land on them like, okay? So, we just started that, man. We're doing a live stream, man. TikTok said I was worthy. I was worthy of a live stream early. Guess it's because of all the likes I had and all the content that we have. Or the Lord intervened, I guess. I don't know. But I think we're bringing something different to the market, man. We're bringing something different to the table than other stuff has. We're bringing something different. We're bringing something different to the table, y'all. Preach. Now, and he passed over before them. And bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. He put himself on the front line. He goes up front. Okay. This looked like a Christ picture. Okay. God put himself on the front lines, on the cross. Period. End of story. Period. Period. God put himself on the front lines to destruct, to face death. Why? Because he's fair. That's what he does. There's nothing unfair or unjust about God. I heard a lot of stuff last night. It's talking about God is a bad thing. Is that no? Or God causes a bad image. God is the ultimate companion. He would do anything. He wouldn't ask you to do anything that he wouldn't do. Okay? So Jacob goes up front line, strike me down. He's not hiding behind anything. So, and Esau ran to meet him, verse 4, 33 verse 4, and embraced him and fell on his neck. Dang, we thought we were good. Golly. Stone cold. No, he fell on his neck in like a hug, I guess. And kissed him, and they wept. And that's a great moment right there, because of that just goes to show, man, God isn't all bad, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like the prodigal son story. The son went away with his inheritance, and he went and he bought prostitutes. He basically just went ham, went on a binge. And he wasted away all his wealth, became a bum basically, washing pigs and stuff for somebody. And he came back finally, because he couldn't even find a morsel to eat. He said, man, even the servants at my house, at my father's house, they have stuff to eat. Maybe my father will take me back and let me just work as a servant. So he had his own guilt built up. You know what I'm saying? He's projecting that guilt. No, his father just wanted him to come back. He didn't care about no money. He didn't care about nothing. He just wanted his son back. And when he came back, he was so happy, the father, and he threw this big feast and threw this big robe on him. So really, he was in a better state than he was before he left. And the brother was envious, the other brother. And that looked like a Satan picture. A Satan picture. Okay? So, much like this, the devil's going to try to tell you a lot of stuff. Man, God loves you no matter what. You got to let go of your own guilt, because Satan is the author of guilt, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, basically. He's going to always tell you, oh, it's too much, you're too far gone, you can never get this right, this and that. No, that's not the truth. God loves you. He just wants you to submit and give up the big ones, and the little ones will come later. And that's my theology. You drop the big ones in your life. This is for the sinners, the addicts. The ones that don't have God primary in their life. The stuff like that. Because pride is a sin too. Atheism is a sin. Atheism is an antichrist spirit. One of the great theologians, great John Owen, or one of them guys, he said, if doubt has its way, it'll turn into full-blown atheism. So you can be on the fence, but then there's the other spectrum of that, and full-blown atheism, just utterly denying God. That is definitely a sin. Definitely. You can paint it and however you want to paint it, which somebody was saying last night, that it's just no, atheism is a sin, y'all. It's a sin. Okay. It's a big sin. Even the demons believe. Okay? Even the demons believe and tremble. Alright? So, this is like a prodigal son guy. And it's important to know that, guys. when you realize how much God loves you, and there's really nothing you can do to separate him. I don't care if you're on death row. I don't care if you're on death row. When you acknowledge God for what he is and for what you are, and know he just wants you to believe in him on the cross and all that, and he rose from the dead, when you want to believe the full implication of the story of Christ, it's not a story. When you want to believe, when you believe the full implication and you make an effort to, even though you may not, you'll feel the love of God coming to you. And we know the guilt is coming off of you. The guilt will come off of you, and you never have to go back. You never have to go back. Okay? And when you realize that we're just a little ant in the hands of an angry God, and that he wants you to be happy and all that, and he wants you to be at peace, it's like God is living vicariously through you. He's living through you. He's supposed to be in you, so I'm not wrong in saying that. So, God is in his creation, y'all. God is in his creation. All right. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, "Who are those with thee?" And he said, "These children with God." And he said, "The children which God hath graciously given thy servant, their children." And they bowed themselves. Okay. The children of God graciously, the handmaids came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph and near Rachel. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, "What meanest thou by all this drove which I met?" And he said, "These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord." And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And that's like I said before, guys. When you give it to God, he give it back to you. God doesn't want nothing but you. You know, he's going to have it either way. So, you know, God's going to have you either way. Whether you give it to him or whether he want to take it from you in the end. Or now. Judgment's happening all the time. God's going to get it either way, y'all. So, God's going to get it either way. You can give it to him, or he can get it anyway. He's going to get it anyway. That's just how that's just the nature of God. Everything comes from him, it comes back to him. We exist in him. That's New Testament theology. Okay, when you understand that, even Big Bang science says everything's going out and come back in. So, it's expanding and it's going to eventually come back, they say. I don't know. There's new science said that all that expansion isn't exactly on point anyway. So, I don't know about all that. But I'm excited about this debate thing we have. I'm kind of hesitant because somebody's gonna get ugly or whatever, but we're gonna shake some walls in this place, man. We're gonna shake some walls because I got something to say, bro, about all that crap. And sometimes it's not necessarily what you say; it's just how you say it. If you believe it, then they'll believe it. Type deal. And that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. This channel is not about nothing but bringing people to the Lord. Nothing but that. Period. That's the only thing we do at this channel. That's the only thing we do. Period. We have a few laughs. We have a couple cups of coffee. You know, that's it. We bring people to the Lord. That's what we're doing. If you already know the Lord, we're trying to get acquainted. Because the message is out there and the so-called knowing the Lord that's out there is grossly inadequate if you ask me. And I'm growing too. It's not just me. I mean, it's not just y'all. I need to grow too. There's never enough room to grow in the Lord. I mean, there's never a place where you're okay. I mean, you're okay, but don't ever feel like you have enough of the Lord, because He's never done giving. He's never done giving and showing. He's never done giving. You can never be too intimate with Christ. Don't quote me on that. I'm just saying. Until you have Psalms memorized front to back. You've memorized every Psalm and every proverb. Don't sit here and tell me you're intimate with Christ. I've been trying to memorize Psalm 91 for a month. I don't know if God's in the way or what, but it's hard, man. It's a lot. I haven't really sat down. I'm just listening to it every night. I'm going to listen to that thing 20, 30 times a night, man. And it relaxes me and all that, but I'm really trying. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High will abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And you know, dude, it's not easy trying to remember this stuff, but I guarantee you, if you memorize this stuff, y'all, it's going to be spiritual power to you. That's why I think I'm giving a hard time, because God's like, whoa, you about to really get powerful if you memorize this song. So, I mean, not in a way like that, but He's like, wow. Like, when you take a stance to memorize a Psalm 91, and that gives you a lot of power in the spiritual world. That gives you a lot of protection. I don't care who you are. That's just something that's on me. If you memorize a Psalm and that word gets in you, and you know it, you got something in you that I can't even explain. It's something in you. You got the Word of God in you, literally. What's the Word? God. It says it right there in John. First was the Word was God. He established everything by His Word. When you get that Word in you, and you memorize a Psalm, preferably King James, and that's another thing that's out there, y'all. They say that the Hebrew, the King James Bible and the American Bible is broken. It's not adding up to the Hebrew. It was torn apart when the Hebrew. No. They meticulously translated it from the Hebrew, and even enhanced stuff from the Hebrew, and put it in the King James version. They had the greatest minds of that time do that, and they were greater than the minds of today. They had all the original scripts. I mean, maybe not all of it, but they had the best stuff they could get at that time, and they took it and they put it into King James version, into English. So don't sit here and tell me that they didn't get the message. No, you didn't get the message. A lot of stuff going on there. Conspiracy theories about this stuff. The only conspiracy theory out there that matters is that the Christ isn't real and that the Bible isn't valid. That's the only biggest conspiracy out there. That's the biggest conspiracy out there that's going to impact you. No, the Bible is completely valid and completely true. Completely true. Completely true. And it's foretelling the future. So yeah, what book do you have out there that does that? There is no book out there that does that. Okay, so I got something for them folks. Okay. Who are those with thee? And he said, and Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. What I tell y'all? What I tell y'all? If that ain't a God picture, I don't know what to tell you. What I tell y'all? Huh? I'm not just saying stuff, y'all. These stories are images of the supernatural and what's going on with the Christ and everything. We're going to go stupid, man, on the live, man. We're going to go stupid. We're going to go stupid. And you're going to see. I'm going to make the wall shake. I'm going to shut some stuff down, man. Because a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff is ridiculous, man. They're saying. The only thing they can say is that a Roman times, they made it up for human control. It was a political move. That's the only thing they can say. It is not true. It's not true. Yeah, there's documents. Yeah, there's stuff saying that. Dude, you think there's not people out there making up stuff? Dude, there's people out there making up stuff for the crap, man. Sorry. Ashley Strobel. Can you spell it? Stroebel. Lee Strobel. The Case for Christ. Ask Lee Strobel. You think all these popes and all these cardinals aren't educated? Man, we've done our homework, bro. The Christ is real. We're not just going to devote our lives to something that's not real. Golly. Take, I pray thee, verse 11, my blessing that is brought to thee. Because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. Okay. We need to be urging ourselves to take the Christ. You know, it's not necessarily. Anyway, I'll read on for a minute. And he said, let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Oh yeah, there's definitely something going on here. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure until I come unto my Lord, unto Seir. I guess they're going back to his father Isaac. Okay. But I want to read that in the other standard, because there's something going on there for sure. 32:12. But you said, I will surely do good. No. We're in 33. 33:12. Alright. And then Esau said, Let us journey on our way, and I will go ahead of you. But Jacob said to him, My Lord knows that the children are frail, and that the nursing flocks and herds are a care to me. If they are driven hard for one day, all the flocks will die. Let my Lord pass on ahead of thy servant, and I will lead on slowly, at the pace of the livestock that are ahead of me, and at the pace of the children, until I come to my Lord in Seir. And you know, this is a picture to me of the Christ, potentially, because you know, first of all, without him leading, we stand no chance. Okay. And number two, because we're nothing. We're not even born yet. We have an eternal job to do. Okay. We have an eternal job to do. We're going into eternity, y'all. Okay, so we're just babes. We were just born, okay, in the spirit. These little 30, 40, 50, 60 years that we've been living is nothing in the eyes of eternity. Okay. So it may seem like a lot to you with your worldly standards and all that, but no, we're just being born. I was just born 4 months ago. You know, if my saving calculations are correct. So we're newborn. We can't be just driven to the point where we're gonna be, ought to be. You know, you know. So let the Christ lead us at his pace. You know, Paul talks about milk for babes and meat for weaned. Meat once you become weaned. So we gotta be led. We gotta be led. Okay. And the Christ is gonna do that. If you let the Spirit guide you, he's gonna show you what's supposed to be done. Okay. He's going to show you what's supposed to be done in every situation. All right, so we're at 33:12. Okay. Let my Lord pass on ahead of his servant, and I will lead on slowly at the pace of the livestock that are ahead of me. Okay, 15. And Esau said, Let me now leave with thee some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What need is it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. There's a side up here to the, because it's getting good here. Getting good here, because, you know, we're doing something. There's something going on here. This is definitely a world picture. There's definitely something going on here. All right. This looks like the spirit. Let me leave some of the folk. Let me leave the spirit with you. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying, bro. Let me leave some of the people with you. That looks like the spirit, man. That looks like the spirit. Facts, facts, facts. Let me see. 33. Okay. 15. I'm thinking about just reading this through. So Esau said, let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, what need is there? Let me find favor in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. Let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, what need is there? Let me find favor. Let me find favor in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. But Jacob journeyed to Succoth and built himself a house and made booths for his livestock. Therefore the name of the place was called Succoth. And Succoth means booths. Okay. And Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, on his way from Padan Aram, and he camped before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar and called it Elohi Israel. Okay, and that means God, the God of Israel. That's our reading for the day. So let's just check that out and give some recap. We got some time for that. So, and Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, on his way from Padan Aram, and he camped before the city. And from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, he bought for 100 pieces of silver. Okay, a piece of land on which he had pitched his tent. There he erected an altar and called it El Elohi Israel. He erected an altar. Okay, that's big, you know. This altar thing, it always is. You know, God is invisible. Not completely. I mean, I'm just saying, he came in the Christ. He's in us. He's in the world. He's in nature. But when you build an altar, you know, or when that happened, and I've done it before. I'm not gonna lie to you. Back in the day, 10 or 15, 20 years ago, probably about 15 years ago, I built a couple, you know, altars. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Made some burnt offerings, you know, made unleavened bread. I was doing some real soul searching. But yeah, so I'm not above searching for the Lord. And, you know, made fires. I didn't kill any cattle or anything like that, but I offered a catfish one time. Not gonna lie to you. So made unleavened bread and all that. So I was just searching, but I'm of the mind now that that's a disrespect to the Christ, because you know Christ was the final offering. Now we're making spiritual offerings, not physical offerings. If my theology is correct. So on that note, I can't really say, you know, if you want to bake some bread or something and set it, you have to be careful, because a lot of that stuff is like La Muerta. I've heard of stories where, and I've heard of other things, Ephi. There's a lot of weird stuff going on about physical stuff like that. So you got to be careful with that. But if you, I can't say it is wrong if you want to go out of your way and you know, I can't say on that, so I'm not going to speak on that. You know, if you just want to have physical things, you know, they still have the Passover feast in the Jews, so but he was our Passover lamb, so it's hard to say. I don't want to speak on that. But, you know, there's kind of, you can get extreme with that, you know. So, I can't really speak on that. I'm not going to speak on that. Like, if you wanted to, you know, you want to feel like you're doing something for the Lord. Man, if you want to do something for the Lord, you know, I don't know, man. I don't want to speak on that. I'm going to let the Lord do that. Because when the cross came, man, that was it. That was a lot. That was a lot, bro. When the Christ came, that was a lot. He doesn't really want for you to do anything else. It's kind of like saying that he didn't do enough. Kind of like. So that was as close as it gets, man. You're not gonna get any closer by building a fire or anything like that. He wants to see it in your heart. He wants to see it in your actions. Okay, so I'm gonna recommend that you guys don't do that. I can't speak on that. I'm just letting you know what's on me. Because Christ did a lot when he came to the cross. You don't need to get any closer. He's supposed to be in you now, literally. Christ's supposed to be in you. You can't get any closer than that. You don't have to make fires, make unleavened bread, do all that stuff. Okay, so we're going to do a quick recap. I'm not saying you can't. I just don't recommend it. Because Christ is literally in you. When the Christ died, the temple, the veil was torn in two. They had this long, I want to say not a carpet, but like a carpet. It was a veil, a carpet, and it was torn in two when Christ died. Now, if my theology is correct, the Spirit came out of the ark, out into the world, and that was no longer the residing place of. That was no longer the house of God at that point. Then the house became us. And that's the scripture. It says that we will be his temple. Okay? So guys, if my theology is correct, that the residing place of the Spirit is in you. God is spirit. God is, you know, spirit is bigger, is always better than the flesh. Okay? That could be debated. I'm just saying, no. You're confined. The Spirit is more free. The Spirit is more free. You are a prisoner of the body. You are a prisoner of the body. The Spirit is not a prisoner. Okay? You can be free out of jail all day long. Prison. You can be in your own prison. In your mind. That was me. Okay? Just because you're out of prison. You can be more free in prison than you are out of prison. That was me too. I was in jail. I had my study every day. I was reading my Bible, doing my study, preparing for this stuff. I got a whole book I could write. I got a whole book full of pages and topics. A whole notepad full. Front and back. Straight topics. Straight topics. I was sitting there. I was okay. I was working out. Just saying, man. I was so close to God in there, man. I had gotten saved. So, but let's just do a quick recap, guys. So just because you're out of prison doesn't mean you're free. You need to be you're either a slave to Christ, and that's all that matters in the eyes of God. I'm not saying that other religions are not okay. I'm not saying they are okay. I'm just saying, if you're living a devout life in another religion, I cannot say that you're not okay. You're probably okay. Because it's the same teachings. It's the same stuff. Being noble, not sinning, stuff like that. Okay. So let's just do a quick recap about this chapter. And there's something going on right there about to leave you with some of my people who are with me. So Esau is also gracious. Esau is gracious. He took the gifts. He took the droves. And Esau said, hey, let me give you some of these people that are with me. Esau said, no, I'm good. In other words, to me, that's saying, that's almost an image of, you can't give nothing to God. He doesn't need nothing. God doesn't need nothing. You can show gestures. You can help the kingdom. But at the end of the day, God doesn't need nothing. He just wants you. He just wants to love you. God just wants your love. He wants to love you and lavish His love on you. And when you realize that, okay, let's do a recap. All right, so what happened was, he was at Laban, for one. Okay. He was at Laban's, because Esau and them he was mad at him because he sold his birthright for a bowl of soup. Okay. And he had obtained his blessing cleverly with his mother's design. Okay. So, and that's basically what happened with us with the sin, y'all, is that when we sinned and we continued in these ways of the world, we basically gave up something amazing for that sin. Okay. And we put on the Christ cleverly through the design of God. Then we get our full stuff back. Okay. But it was gone. It was gone. Okay. It was gone for sure. Why? Because God doesn't go back on His stuff unless He intervenes. There's no way we could have got back to God without God coming down and doing that on the cross. All right, so his mother designs the stuff to get him back. All right. So he gets the birthright and the blessing. And there's a lot of symbolism around that. Like I said, it has to do with man and the Christ and everything. Okay. You know, Christ is all through this. Some dude on there on another channel last night was saying that the Christ was manufactured and designed. It wasn't real, and that these prophecies were bent to make him look. In the gospel, the prophecies about the Christ were bent to make him look, to make it fit for the Christ. No, the Christ is all through this. All through this. Every story, just about every chapter, even the first word of the Bible, they say Christ is all through this. All through this. And he's supposed to be all through you. So don't sit here and tell me that crap. Okay, so Jacob, he goes and serves Laban. He gets his 2 wives. Okay. God tells him to leave. He leaves to go back home. He wrestles with God on the way. God names him Israel. God won't tell him his name at that point. And Israel means strives with God, or God strives. Okay. That's the second time Jacob has had a spiritual run-in of the supernatural. First time it was on the way to Laban, the second one's on the way out. Okay. First time he said, surely God is in this place, and I didn't know it. Okay. So, yeah. So, he leaves. He's got his wife and his kids with him. Wives, kids, and concubines. He leaves after, Laban pursues him and all that. Because he left. He stole away unawares. So he left. All right. He leaves. And he comes up with his plan that I'm gonna try to butter up Esau, because he sent servants out in front and they said, oh, Esau is coming with 400 of his men. So he's like, oh God, he's pissed. All right, so he designs this thing of this parade of gifts coming out to him to try to ease his anger. And he says, oh, let me split up the people so they don't get all killed at one time. Well, nevertheless, he comes out, and Esau is very happy to see him. It's not like what he thought, which is typical about people in their conception of God. It's nothing like that. Yeah, God will smite you. Yeah, God is violent. But guess what? That's just because you're not in line. It's not because that's what he wants to be. That's just how good he is. That's how good he is. Okay? What happens when you throw an ice cube in hot water? It melts. Okay? That's just the nature of God. When you throw a hot water on a slab of ice, guess what? That hot water is gonna freeze. So it's not like God's trying to be mean, y'all. It's just the way he is. He's at a certain rate. He's at a certain rate. So anything that comes near him is going to be obliterated because it's not like him. Okay, so it's not like he's trying to be this way, y'all. It's just the way he is. So it's not you. It's not him that's the problem. It's you that's the problem. Okay, so get in line and be like him so that you don't get transformed. Okay. Because it's not like he's doing that. Like I said, it's just his quality. That's how pure he is and holy. God cannot come down to that level to accept you. It's not possible. God cannot change. It's not his character. He's definitely not going to drop down any lower. He can't get any higher. Okay. I say that. I don't know. I know he can't get any lower. He came down with the Christ. That's as low as he's going to get. Then he went to hell. Took the keys of death. All right, guys, so look. And that's basically where we're at. You know, we'll do a much larger recap when we get through with Genesis. Wow, there's a lot of Genesis left. We're going to be here for a while. All right. We're doing the whole Bible. All right, so guys, thank you so much. We're on YouTube at Preach Facts. I got to go to work. All right, guys, have a good day.